Chapter 13. Brooke.
"That Peter guy was cute," Millie said as she piled green beans into the basket. It had a broken front wheel, making it difficult to steer on the tacky tiled floor. Creepy, but cute. I rolled my eyes. "If you say so." She lightly backhanded my arm. "You know he is. I saw you gazing deeply into his eyes before you got in the car." "I was not gazing at him," I argued, estimating the cost of the groceries on an old envelope I found in the car. I planned to spend as close to $100 as possible without going over. To account for sales tax and keep my math simple, I rounded each item up to the next dollar. "Please, you were holding hands," she said, tossing more cans in. "Can you slow down? I'm trying to calculate this," I told her, frantically scrawling down the numbers. She took the paper from me. "Is this a 7 or a 2? She asked, pointing to the offending letter. I squinted. "A 7. "Then the total is $58 so far," she said simply, thrusting the paper back to me. I didn't take it. "How did you do that?" I demanded. "You added those numbers in your head that quickly?" She shrugged. "I practice math a lot." "You practice math? How does someone practice math?" "For fun. I make math problems and solve them for fun," she explained, as if everyone did this in their spare time. It didn't sound remotely fun to me. "Fine, you do it if it's so fun for you," I told her, handing her the pen. It was strange to feel so proud of her and so jealous at the same time. She bugged her eyes out at my craziness, but wordlessly kept up and wrote everything down, warning me when we got to 90, then 95, then $100. "We'll put these back if we go over," I told her, holding up the bag of apples I had assembled. We had to give back 2 apples. The total was $99.72. Packing the groceries into the car with all of our stuff, I felt rich, giddy, hopeful. Millie's face mirrored mine, and it made me shine even brighter. We were going to be okay. It almost felt like we were thriving. Peter and I sat on the porch after hauling in the last of the bags. Wind chimes sang in the light breeze as the sun started to set, casting an orange glow over the world around us. "You didn't have to help," Peter said, leaning back against a railing. I copied him and leaned against the one opposite him. Our bent knees brushed together, skin to skin. At first it was an accident, then I leaned into him on purpose. His leg hair was long, thick, and smooth. As dangerous as he was, everything about him was also soft and comforting, a walking contradiction. "What are you thinking about?" he asked me. Too embarrassed to say the truth, that I was thinking about moving closer and imagining how his scruffy face would feel in my hands, I reached for something else to say. "Tell me how you know Charles," I said. "I don't understand your relationship. Sometimes it's like you know each other really well, and sometimes it's as if you're complete strangers." "It's complicated," he said, looking away from me. "I have time," I said. "Besides, I just brought my sister to live with the man. I need to know if I can trust him." He nodded, looking me in the eye again. "You can trust him." "Why do you say that?" I challenged him. He bit his lip before replying. "If I tell you, I might turn." "Why?" I asked, unsure about how the rules worked. He winced, looking away again. "I turn when my body thinks I'm in danger," he explained. "At least, that's the trigger I've seemed to notice over the years. When I get too upset, or when the air gets too cold and I can't stay warm enough, or when I get too hungry, the wolf comes out." "To save you," I finished. "The wolf saves you?" His eyes snapped back to mine. "What did you say?" "It sounds like when your human body is threatened, the wolf comes out and you survive it. So it saves you," I reasoned. "I've hurt people, Brooke. Killed them. The wolf isn't good," he argued. I shook my head. "I'm not saying the wolf is a hero for anyone else, but it sounds like he's saved you." "At the expense of other people," he stated. "Sometimes we're selfish when we're trying to survive," I said. "I felt that as a human. That's why I stole from you." His eyes got sad. "You don't understand. I killed my parents, Brooke." I sat up straight, leaning closer to him. "What do you mean? What happened?" "The first night I turned," he explained. Tears filled his eyes but didn't spill over. His body shook, but he stayed human. I was 8 years old, a little younger than Millie. I don't even remember what happened. I went to bed as a normal kid and woke up in the woods naked. I imagined Millie going through that, waking up alone. Tears did spill down my cheeks. "What did you do?" I was so upset, so cold, so hungry, that I stayed a wolf for a while. I was in and out of humanity for years, unable to stay calm long enough to stay myself. I would be a human for a day or two, but it wouldn't last. Eventually, I started seeing packages left in the forest with food and clothes. They were stapled to trees in Ziploc bags. I got brave enough to make it to Midnight Springs one day, dressed and fed, hoping I would stay myself long enough to get home. Nothing but the foundation remained. My parents were dead, and everyone thought I was too. 7 years had passed since the first night I turned. I had no idea it had been that long. I stayed silent. I wanted to ask more questions, but I was afraid of breaking his stream of words. "That's how I know Mr. Atkins," he explained. "He's the one who left the packages for me. He allows me to squat on his land and use the river." "Wow," I breathed. "It seems like God sent Mr. Atkins to both of us." His eyes squinted and he scoffed. "I doubt that." "What do you mean? The man has helped us both so much," I argued. "Didn't he just say that Mr. Atkins was good? That I could trust him?" "Oh, I don't doubt Mr. Atkins for a second," he said. "It's God I don't believe in." My eyes widened. Gran would have choked if she had heard him say that. "You don't believe in God?" I clarified. "Like, you don't believe he exists at all?" "No. Do you?" he asked, as if I were asking if he liked soccer. "Yes," I said, and I meant it. We weren't on great terms, but I knew he was there. He had withheld loving parents from me, taken the one person who ever unconditionally loved and cared for me, and left me alone to care for Millie. And I spat in his face for sleeping with another girl's boyfriend. He was there, I was sure of it, but he wasn't fond of me at the moment. "Why?" he asked. He was probably going through that same list of reasons why I shouldn't believe, or maybe his own. "Gran taught me to," I said. "It was important to her. She brought us to church every Sunday, but it was more than that. She believed with her heart. She had hope, even when everything was bad. She had peace, and you could feel it by being around her. I miss feeling that peace." He nodded. "I don't mean to disrespect her or her faith, Brooke, but I don't share it. I don't believe there is more to life than this. You know what I believe in? Nature. Dying and becoming food for something else." I frowned and he picked up on it. He reached out to grab my hand. "Hey, it's okay. We don't have to agree on it," he said. I could tell he wanted to drop the subject, but I couldn't let go. "I believe because Gran made it real for me. And if you could have met her, she would have made it real for you too," I said. I was sure of that. He nodded. "You may be right, but you have to understand, it's hard to believe in God when I'm cursed like this." "That's exactly why I'm so confused that you don't," I admitted. "Who else could you have leaned on all alone in the woods?" "No one," he admitted. I was truly alone. "I thought I asked you to wipe down the fridge," Charles asked, hollering from the kitchen. I groaned and set down my garbage bag. Millie continued to fill hers with the trash scattered around the house. "I did," I said as I rounded the corner. He looked at me wide-eyed and pointed to the fridge door. It looked just as awful as it had before I wiped it. "I swear I did," I told him. "I thought the streaks would dry." He rolled his eyes. "It's stainless steel, girl." "The name implies that it would look nicer than it does when clean," I snapped. "It would if you cleaned it right," he said, grabbing the spray and 2 paper towels. "You have to clean it in sections and dry it as you go," he said, showing me. He sprayed, wiped with 1 paper towel, then dried with the other. His hand shook the whole time, and I wondered if it was helping or hindering him as he cleaned. "Use the paper towel you used to dry for the first wipe in the next section. The secret is in the drying, so pay extra attention to that step," he said. True to his word, his section of the fridge gleamed. "I didn't know that," I mumbled. "When you said you would clean my house, I assumed you would know how to clean," he said. "When you live in such a filthy house, I assumed you wouldn't be this high maintenance about it," I countered. He grinned, tossing the spray back to me. "No such luck, sweetheart. I'm not running a charity. You have to earn your keep." I cleaned it the way he taught me until the whole fridge sparkled. It looked brand new, to the point that it made the rest of the kitchen look worse. I proudly stood with my shoulders back as I took it in. I did it. "Good job," he stated. "Now go do the same thing to the mirror in the bathroom."